Hi, everyone. Welcome to this intuitive channeling and likely general reading. Um, Happy Saturn Neptune conjunction. I haven't checked what sign this is happening in sidereal Vedic astrology, but I know in tropical it's happening in Aries at 0 degrees. Um, Shout out to the Aries placements and the Saturn in Aries plus personal Aries placements. I think that this transit had a greater effect on you than it would have on anyone else. I know my sister who has those planets went through a physical weight. She experienced a shock to her, how I perceive to be a shock to her nervous system. And she almost passed out. It was really hectic. And she said that she'd come across someone else who'd also passed out. So today was definitely felt on all levels. On the physical, please don't underestimate that. Please look after your body during this time. I mentioned this via Twitter that I tend to have these lucid experiences when I wake up in the witchy hours of the night where I observe what looks to be like a grid. And I've understood it to be the grid of like the energetic matrix. I haven't clarified the difference between the matrix of my home or the matrix of like the general of life, but it does always give me really, really good hints about what I need to do energetically in order to guard myself on the day moving forward. And today, the grid, what I was luciding and kind of hallucinating during that time, had like black spots all over it, like it was being infected. It actually looked really, really creepy and disgusting and unsettling. And it did give me a threatening sense of like not really an impending, it's not an impending doom per se. It's like a looming attack. Yes, that's what it is. Not an impending doom, but the feeling of what could be an impending doom. So that maybe this day was pretty tough on your mental. Maybe during this time, you're finding it really, really hard to stay hopeful. And this may or may not be a consistent theme since around last year. Maybe last year Scorpio season, so like October-ish. Yeah, some people, last year was tough in general, and you went into this year really focused on trying to make a new or make better whatever 2026 was. And so far, it's not really looking like it's looking better. But then there's also a very strong collective of people who are truly experiencing such positive forward motion in their journey. And the motion of these things is happening in a way that was really a long time coming. So I'm seeing this more with Saturnian placements than anything, and Capricorn placements. This is all tropical. Capricorn placements are really reaping the rewards of their hard work in real time. Congratulations to you guys. You guys really know, and I mentioned this before, you know how to balance the value and experience of investment, input, and output. You really get that system, and it's very special. And I always learn a lot from you. So yeah, congratulations to the collective of those people. But I think a lot of my readings tend to be for the collective of people who are, I'm getting the image of like, you know, it's dark, it's foggy, it's wet, it's uncomfortable, it's slimy, it's ugh, but you know you have to keep going. And you've just been going and going, hey? And it's still slimy and foggy. And you're getting gifts and you're getting cool experiences and you're growing and you're really seeing it all, and it's cool, but it's still slimy and foggy. Like it's still awkward and uncomfortable and sometimes overwhelming. Yeah, if that's the case, we really need to just step our game up. And I don't know how else to put it. And even saying it to myself, because a lot of these things are for me. Saying it to myself is very like I feel tired. I feel really, yeah. But we just have to. I saw a tweet. I don't remember who made this, but they said, and I'm pretty sure I retweeted it. They said that the best way to handle these conjunctions and these times in general is to keep up with the energy work that you've been doing, because falling behind on it isn't going to be helpful. Like, be real. We need to be real. We need to be real about the work it takes, about the work we're willing to put in. Yeah. We need to be real about the work we're willing to put in, because that is realistically going to be the work that we put out. Oh, yes. This person's name, I think, is Bronx. And they said, you can be delusional about the vision, but you can't be delusional about the work. Legendary words. I love that. So real. And it can sound so already exhausting to a fully exhausted person. But we have to keep pushing and understand that we are really only getting refined. We're only getting better. And there's a version of us that's not going to feel weighed down by all of this shit anymore. You know what I mean? There's a version of us that would have done so much more healing than we've done now. And we've already done so much that would have been way past this and settling into the reality that this version of you right now is manifesting and trying to think up and bring about in a very, very, very uncertain, fast-changing world. We have a very big responsibility on our hands right now. Every single one of us, no matter the class, no matter the race, no matter what you identify as are, we have a very, very big role to play. And it's that of bringing the world in, bringing the new world in, for real. All that new earth shit, the pressure of it is so crazy, and it's feeling honestly like it's an explosion. But this new world really isn't going to come without us. It has to come with us really being intentional, doing the work, focusing on our mind, taking back our sovereignty, sharpening our connection with the divine, with nature, and with the flow of life, all of that crazy shit, surrendering to the unseen. Yeah, you guys, we're all gonna have to surrender in ways that we are really not used to. You're gonna have to quit that job. You're gonna have to leave that relationship. You're gonna have to move away from this place of comfort. Move out, move in, start anew, start again. We're all gonna have to start again. Oh my God, there's also that. We're all gonna have to start again. I'm feeling that so hard. A big collective, like all of us being put in amateur level positions in some way or another, in relationship, in career, possibly in family hierarchy, where you were used to being, I guess, the child, I don't know, of the family, evading responsibility, and now you're being put in like the baby adult position where for the first time ever people are depending on you now for financial contributions, and you need to put in your word and effort into making the family a family, creating family values from scratch. Like, these are positions that it's like I'm seeing something, a role or a way of living that used to be so far away. It may have even been something that you envisioned as a child, that you saw from afar as a child. And now we're all feeling the impact of time and how it has moved, and how these things that were far are now very close. I'm also getting the big theme of like aging. And watching our parents, our families, our own selves, our friends, we're all getting old. And it's starting to show through the ways that we are, through the ways that we look, we dress. I'm also getting a lot of people needing to face that fact and change. And that is also daunting, the surrender to amateurness. We're gonna have to learn how to be willing to admit when we've made a mistake, and that's very uncomfortable. A lot of our egos are going to take a very forceful hit. You will do best by learning very quickly, urgently, how to be like, oh shit, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Or I'm completely made an assumption there, because we're going to be prone to a lot of that as well. So much energy. So easy to jump to conclusions. Astrologically, if you are a 12th house placement, sorry, babe. Because people love to jump to conclusions with you. And Aquarians, so sorry. So sorry. Because, yeah. I'm also receiving, linking to what I was mentioned earlier about all of us being responsible for a very, we're all responsible for our roles right now. We have big responsibility. That responsibility is zoomed in, I honestly think, times 1,000 if you are self-aware, if you claim to be a light worker, shadow worker. I mentioned this in like cycles. If you identify with breaking generational curses, if you are a deeply spiritual person, our responsibilities are like blown up tenfold because we already in our pursuit for truth vibrate at a frequency that honestly makes us powerful and influential. And as a result, we have to be responsible for that power and influence by looking out, yeah, especially for our loved ones, looking out for them and doing everything we can. I think that's where a lot of our healing can come from. You know what heals the healer? Love heals the healer. So if you identify as that, it can be very tricky against like your senses of exhaustion. So make sure you listen to yourself and your body. But I highly recommend, just for a sense of fulfillment during this time, to keep serving others. Yeah, like I said, against your exhaustion, if you're really, really tired, please listen to your body. Don't do too much of that. Don't like over empathize or whatever. Don't do it too much. But I would recommend, I really do think that especially during these really crazy, energetic, turbulent times, the best way to handle that energy is to serve others, especially women and children. And I saw from Astro Council Vic, he's recommended, especially with 12th houses, but I also feel like this is a very 12th house thing right now we're going through. A remedy for, I would describe it as energetic lostness, is to, like I said, be of service and feed animals and donate to charity. So I highly recommend doing that. It does allow for an alleviation of the spirit in some way, and I think we all need it, considering what's happening. The revelations that are happening online, I'm seeing so many, and I'm sure this is programmed, this is something Elon is doing, so many tweets about people who can become their own millionaires through the use of technology, lots of ads about joining AI companies, and lots of chats about aliens. I saw this picture today of a UFO that was not at all in the shape of like standard disc saucer UFOs that they've showed us via media. It was such a beautiful foreign shape. And it's like, of course aliens would make like that. That's so weird. I will link the tweet. It's such a beautiful, if it is true, it is such a beautiful thing. It's so stunning. But I get the sense that Grok is going to confirm it for us. All of that to say that the proof is in the pudding in terms of what's happening to our collective consciousness. And I do think that even, I've mentioned this before, these kind of revelations, they affect every single one of us. They affect the energy grid. So actually, via the symbolism that I saw during my hallucination, I would highly recommend everybody protect themselves. Do everything you can. There's no more excuses now. Pray. Take that shit so seriously. Talk to God. Build a relationship with your God and your own inner God, and keep that lit up. I also highly recommend candle meditations. There's something going on in plasma. I honestly believe, I think I've said this before, the consciousness of plasma is taking on a new form where it's becoming louder and easier for us to communicate with it, I feel totally like washed in a way after spending a few breathing moments staring into a candle. It's weird. I say so myself. It's really strange, the emotional clarity I feel after just doing that process and letting go and letting the process happen. So don't start having thoughts about it. Leave your brain behind. Just look at the candle and breathe. Crazy, crazy. I think something about that, something about how healing that is, has a lot to do with why all these scientists are getting murdered. But allegedly. I don't want to get caught slipping. Do everything you can to keep your wits about you energetically. Again, there's no more excuses. The tools are right there. So if you don't want to pray, if you don't want to connect to your source, if you don't want to build a relationship with your God, your ancestors, or whatever, belief in an unseen greater power, if you don't want to do that, then that's on you. It's all there. The Bible's there. It's all there. Even religion and all of its twisted misinterpretations. The tools are there. It's all so there, available, so powerful. You will see the difference. You will see changes. It's not like the way it was before, when you would do something and it'd be skeptical about whether or not it would work. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just biased. No, even a little opening of a belief of the thing can make the thing show up for you, even in small coincidences. Like, I don't know if I'm even making sense at this point, but keep playing with the universe. Keep playing with your life. Keep giving it an essence. It's always communicating with you. Just listen. Listen, you know? Listen, especially right now. It feels like it's going to be hard. Like it's not going to be a streamlined push. It's not going to be smooth. It feels like it can be smooth if we keep putting in the work and we keep doing our rituals, pray, energetic, whatever, you know, all that stuff that could really feel tiring. But if we keep at it, it's eventually, I'm getting like a really hard trek uphill, and then suddenly it goes down and everything. Then you start sprinting so fast. Literally that actually, yes. Even in the sprinting part, and how you have to like watch your pace or else you'll trip and fall and tumble. Exactly that. Yes, totally. That feels so resonant with what I'm trying to say and with what the energy is and with what we can expect. This is giving over the next few months. March feels culminatory. Yeah, I don't know if that's a word, but it feels like March 2026. I think I'm going to leave it at that, because now I could ramble on and on and on and on. And you know what? I'm saying everything that I'm saying and I'm just vibing, but I don't know. And no one does. And that's the most important part about what we're in right now, is that ultimately no one knows. But you know for yourself. You know. You do. You do. You know everything. For your life, you know everything. Interesting. Who is this person? Anyway, Queen of Cups, Justice, opening energy. There are so many people in the collective who want other people. There's like a yearning. There's like, okay, what I feel called to mention with this, the presence of this card in particular, and how often it's shown up in my readings as of late. Don't take lightly the energetic power of holding someone in your body. You know, when you think of someone and that thought creates feelings and sensations in your body, I believe, especially with what's happening right now, that those sensations travel, they move, where it seems you can send your energy to someone and have it hover around them. And that'll be them kind of incessantly thinking about you. So that's what this is giving. There are so many people incessantly thinking about other people. It's giving that it's still coming, so it's at a distance that this incessant thinking is happening. Yeah, the distance in your circle, I'm not entirely sure. I can't really catch whether or not this is someone you know well or what, but it doesn't seem like this is something you know. Like, you'd be surprised by a presence that is around you that really, really loves you, but it's like, it feels totally ethereal. It feels totally other dimensional. So it might not be something that you're privy to in waking life. I think a lot of people collectively are very unaware of how much other people are thinking about them and how much their thoughts that they have about other people affects those people you're thinking about. We're all feeling each other right now. The Queen of Cups and Justice is throwing me off a bit, with the Nine of Cups having taken center stage, the Knight of Cups, because, yeah, it's the romantic energy, man. You know, something I can't leave alone. I've been talking about it for months now, and this card in particular showed up in the previous reading. There is a kind of like, there's an emotional upheaval that I'm sensing now that's coming from a lack of, we have the Two of Swords beneath the deck making a decision. I'm getting like an overthinking and a not feeling enough, and the feeling being how you'd be able to find the answer. You'd think that, I feel like I might be reading for a logical person. Now this feels separate from this. I'm just focusing on these two cards right now. It feels like somebody's struggling. I'm feeling into a complication, an overcomplication of making some kind of decision because of what this person thinks is an over feeling of something, but you're not giving space. You're not giving enough space for how you feel, basically. Yes. Somebody needs to give enough space for how they feel. The way that you feel will be what brings in the answer, whatever the answer is. I don't know if somebody's maybe like trying to decide whether or not to ask someone out, or whether or not to pursue a relationship at all. And then beneath you have the Hangman. So this is really like these two together, these two cards together. I think this is also just true to the times that we're in. I think the best way forward, and I think surprisingly what a lot of people maybe, I don't know, actually, I need to gather what the general narrative of this is, but you'd be surprised by how well you can connect to your intuition through your willingness to feel through your feelings. I think a lot of people overcomplicate that process. Just feel the way, okay, when you feel stuff, and I'm talking to myself, when you feel stuff, admit the feeling, admit that it's true, and then sit with it. Don't try to change it or distract yourself. I'm getting now, like, if you're in love, if you are in love with someone, be in love with them. Just be in love with them. If you like someone, if you have a crush on them, have a crush on them. Like, do it, just do it. And then allow actions to spring from that in, like, don't suppress yourself. Yeah, do not suppress yourself. This queen, emotionally suppressed, is a dangerous cannon. Can you imagine an angry Cancer woman? Yeah, you don't want to do that. Through this deck anyway, through these illustrations, that's the energy that I receive. But through the intuitive tarot, Interestingly enough, I'm remembering now the Queen of Cups fell in a recent reading I did. In the Intuitive Tarot, she's a lot more feminine with her breasts out, and there isn't a lot of like, I don't know, I don't really receive the kind of anger that's portrayed in this card, the emotional, the range of that, the shadow side of being like too feminine. But of course, all these are just labels. If you get me, you get me. Beneath, we have the Knight of Pentacles and we have Death. These figures are very, very interesting to me. The horse. This is actually pretty interesting. Wow. I love the visual. I love the visual of this. This is incredible. These are something I'm taking in the way all of the horses look in each image, and how these two, they're stepping, they're walking, and then here it's a stop. It's still. I'm receiving someone, likely a masculine, seeking to go through a transformation for the sake of being more emotionally available for something, someone, some journey. Then we have the Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles. To me, this feminine, this more emotional person is very grounded, they have a huge emotional scape. Okay, yeah. So I'm getting a very grounded, emotional, feminine woman, softer person, and a equally emotional, maybe a little less materially secure, like even their own self. They're a little less secure, not as secure as the more feminine figure, but still secure in their own way, but also wanting to go through a transformation in order to become what they think this feminine wants. This soft, emotional person. They, gender neutral, not gender specific, just trying to read into the balance that I'm receiving from these these energies. Anyway, either way, there's a stillness happening. There's like a pause. There's a stalemate kind of where something needs to happen. Some inner programming, thought process, something not useful. Maybe I'm getting the suppression of emotions, the unwillingness to feel through emotions, an unwillingness to accept the self. All of that needs to die, basically. All of that needs to go through a correcting, fixing, or whatever, so that someone needs to accept themselves more for the state that they're at, and not need to because I don't know, someone's ego is taking a hit here. Someone's ego needs to step aside for whatever the energetic connection and intentions are moving forward, because it feels like there's something that needs to happen. There's a newness that needs to come. I'm getting a change that needs to happen in people's lives, that these people need to be a specific version of themselves for. Okay, so I guess this is something that we've all heard about. This is something we know well enough. Essentially, the best way to get through this, the best way to climb through the slimy fog and find our way, is to dedicate our attention to our intuition and be willing to let anything go. This is a scary one. These two together is actually very uncomfortable. Generally, very, very uncomfortable. But if we can trust that everything's happening for our own greatest good, then it can actually be very easy. We need to be willing to cry. We need to be willing to stay home, stay at home. I think that's very important for all of the volatility in the air right now. And if not stay at home, then make sure you frequent places that you're familiar with, that you feel at home in. So friends' places, maybe common, I don't know, hangout spots outside, but just make sure you're in places that are familiar, where you feel energetically safe, because you are already going through a lot of energetic pressure right now. If by chance you do feel like asking someone out, don't overthink, just do it. It's a random one. And work with what you've got. This is also just generally the card of that. Work with what you've got. Try to be practical. Just to link that, if you want to take someone out on a date, but you feel like you don't have enough money, fucking take them out for a picnic, make it cute. Work with what you've got. Work with what you've got. Yeah, and pay attention to the signals. We're all going through changes, and I do think that our lives are going to give us signals on how our lives need to change. So just pay attention to what you see, the synchronicities, all of that stuff. Maybe create a secret language with your universe to let you know, like, if you see a lizard, then you'll know that you need to think about your career that day. If you see a ladybug, then you'll think about love. Make those kind of languages with your universe so that you can get more communication and understanding of what your next moves are, because there does feel to be an uncertainty of that. But that's okay. No pressure. I've been saying give it until the end of the month. We are upon the great conjunction, and like I said, this could affect a lot of people in a lot of surprising ways. So please be sure to look after yourself and don't push your body too hard, and make sure you stay hydrated. And make sure you stay willing to cry. I feel like that is so important, especially for people who aren't good at like emotionally processing. Aquarius, Capricorn, Virgos, to be honest. Who else? Yeah, people are just very Scorpio sometimes. We have a huge range of feeling, but we are very slow to process. We're very stagnant with it. I don't know. But either way, we need to do things to get the blood flowing. Blood flow. Yes, specifically blood flow. Very important. Things that get your heart boop, boop. Deep breathing as well. I'm going to pull from the Intuitive Tarot one card and then close the reading. Oh dear. I did ask for one. Didn't even shuffle that much. I'm going to leave these. I see the sun peeking through. So cute. But the Devil and the Three of Rods have shown themselves. Hey Lisa, I'm okay. Thank you. Yeah, I think this has to do with the energy that I addressed earlier about the energetically sensitive people potentially feeling exhausted and maybe going through the painful, uncomfortable parts of the energetic processing of this time. People who may be facing deep inner doubts and possibly dealing with your shadow stuff again if you tend towards suicidal ideations or just like a distance from life in general, then this might be what this card is referring to, and this might be a really intense time for you. I'm laughing because I relate. Laughing to keep from crying. Alchemy. This is alchemy. We have to transmute. We're learning how to transmute, learning new ways in transmutation. And I'm getting that the transmutation process, learning new ways to do it, will probably come through sharing the load. Yeah, sharing the load. So cute. I feel called to touch on the energy of the Three of Rods, because I think that is where that has the most useful, interpretation. There's the card of the artist, writer, inventor, dreamer, scientist, or visionary. Inspired gifts that need expression. Creative possibilities opening up, connecting to the different dimensions of existence. A gift freely given. Talent. That sentence, connecting to the different dimensions of existence, jumped out to me. The shadow world is a dimension of existence on its own that I think a lot of people are afraid of, but we don't have to be, because it's not like the shadow is showing us something we don't know. Don't be afraid of your inner monster. Don't be afraid of your inner demons. Don't be afraid. I would say, honestly, don't be afraid of thinking about death. don't think, don't be afraid to sit with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, a lot of people will think of shadow stuff, suicidal ideations, leaving this earth, all this stuff, and there'll be this sense of like of looking at that frequency and thinking that, oh no, I can't touch that, I can't look at that, or it's something that you want to clutch your pearls to, or it's like, I don't know, beneath you, above you, wherever. It's within you, it's of you. The act of death, dying, darkness, the devil, the shadows, all of this nasty shit we're seeing in the Epstein files, that's within each of us. Within each of us. And I honestly think the point of all of this, the times everything, is to accept that and to make something of it. I think what makes us God and not the devil is our ability to see this stuff and do something different with it. Choose differently and to actually make love of it, make presence of it, make connection of it. You know what I mean? Make a sincerity of it, be honest. Use all of these moments of vulnerability and fear and doubt, all of it, to be really, really honest with yourself. Be authentic with others. It's been so freeing to be honest with people around me and in my connections. It's felt so good to be vulnerable and real, you know? I think a lot of us are underestimating the value of that. When someone asks you how you are, really tell them how you are. Really sit with the question of how you are. While I was reading the interpretation of this, I also got the suggestion of taking like paint or doing one of those, I don't know, creating a piece of art that you can really throw on, you know? Drawing silly, writing silly. If you're right-handed, draw with your left hand instead, doing something that's a little bit expansive and uncomfortable in its experience on purpose, you know? I'm also receiving now the cold water plunges. Apparently, you're not supposed to do them, but experience it. Just try it once and then, you know, make a decision for yourself. I've tried it. I think they're amazing. So yeah, I'm getting there's a way that you could shock your system in a good way to help process what's happening, basically. Exercise for me, today I did one of my sprints where I just run, and I love it. And I just run as fast as I can. It's so nice. So something like that might help. And stay open. Keep staying open to connection, assume good intent. Oh, and that's so important, and yet seems to be so difficult for people to do, to assume good of others. And why we all have the propensity to assume bad of each other, I guess because of the times we're so being so dark right now and so scared. But please, no one's out to get you. And anyone who does get you, I mean, this is not a fight. None of this is a fight. There's no fight anyway. Thank you for your comments, Lisa. I think that's all I've got for this evening. I've been doing these readings at really, really strange times lately. My son has been uploading a new form of his personality that is very difficult to contend with. So having time to do these has been very difficult, but I'm really grateful that I can still show up. I really love doing this, and it's so helpful to lay out all the things that I think about the times that we're in right now. So I'm really grateful for everybody who watches and comments, and